the beginning, we heard that Mexico is a country that has been overreached. But that did not stop the call in our hearts. God's word says, "Tell them who I am, and I will prove it." 25 people answered the call with us and traveled over 3,000 miles by bus. As soon as we arrived in Monterrey, Mexico, we went to one of the highest points in the city, and we started to pray for this nation. We put our focus on Him and not in ourselves. We asked God to intervene and reveal Himself to the people of Mexico.
Today we did some outreach where we would actually approach the people in this community with the gospel in the best way that we knew how. Each group had a translator with them, and so we would kind of open the door in a sense to the gospel by stumbling over our words and trying to speak in Spanish, and then the translator would take over. Yeah, the guy that came with us was amazing. He basically, one of us would try to, we would knock on the door and somebody would come and say, "Buenas tardes," and we would begin to start a conversation with them, talking about God. And 3 houses in a row, we saw salvations for 3 different moms. And it was incredible. They all prayed to receive Christ, and some of them asked us for prayer. Man, I could really feel God like moving in their hearts, even though.
That night we went out to the Kiosco Plaza to have an outside service. We started to share God's love through dramas, testimonies, and a few songs. Following the service, we asked those who wished to come forward for prayer to do so. Many came forward to receive salvation that night. Among them was an elderly lady who could hardly walk. We were able to pray for her, and for the first time in 5 years, she said she felt great.
Well, today we took some bunk beds. I think it was 14. Took them to the rehabilitation center, which is right above the church that we worked with, Templo de Cristo Salva. We just put these bunk beds together and really blessed the pastor. That's what she said that they needed.
Let me see your wonders.
Gracias a ustedes y al Señor que ha escuchado nuestras oraciones, porque Él sabe la necesidad que hay aquí y Dios los ha puesto en nuestro camino y gloria a Dios por ello.
This morning we went to the old folks home and we just cleaned up, and we moved a really big dryer. That was hard, that was fun. But yeah, we just helped them out and hung out with the old folks a little bit. I did a little gardening. I helped out in the garden. Right now we're in an orphanage. We're just helping out the kids. We did an art project and the skits, and now we're just playing with them, having a good time.
Many children at the orphanage were rescued out of the streets. For example, one little boy was dropped off the doorstep when he was only 2 weeks old. Now he has found love, acceptance, and he's doing great.
God did something so amazing today. We went to this town of people that really, they had nothing. I mean, literally their houses were just built out of whatever they could find. And we went to distribute food and clothing to them. And it was such a blessing, and the people were just so happy to see us, all except for one woman in particular. And when we told her that we were Christians, she really didn't want to have anything to do with us. And we had been distributing tickets for people to come and see a program that gave the message of salvation, and then we would give them their clothes and some food, and she just didn't want to come to that. But after we finished the program, we had some extra bags. About half of our team walked back over to her house, and they took her the gifts and they gave them to her. And, you know, Isaac found out that she was just completely blind and she just had no faith. And Isaac said, "Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that this whole team of people would be here at your house giving you food and clothes? And we want to pray over you, that you would even receive sight." And so he sat her down and he led her to Christ, and he asked if we could pray over her. The team just got down on their knees around her and they just started asking God and calling on his name and saying, God, you're so powerful and we know you can do this and she needs to see this, God. She needs to see that you care about her. And he said, you know what, we want to pray for full healing for you. And one of the team members came over and asked Isaac, you know, would it be okay if maybe we made some mud and put it on her eyes? And Isaac said, you know, I was really feeling that same thing. So they did. They made mud, and they put the mud on her closed eyes, and we kept praying over her. Isaac took this wet wipe and started wiping the mud off of her face. Everyone was just waiting, and there was just so much energy. People were just buzzing. And he looked at her, and he asked her to open her eyes, and she did. And she reached out and she touched his face, and she told him what color his eyes were. And she took off his hat, and she told him what color his hat was. And Isaac asked her, can you see? Even though we all already knew that she could see. And she said, yes, I see.
Faithful.
It's ironic that the one moment we truly wanted to capture on film, we left our cameras behind. Is it that God only wants us to believe by faith and faith alone? What I know is that lives were transformed, people were healed, and God was glorified above all. And I assure you, this will be a trip that we'll remember forever.